So yeah, Sean, my manager, got a phone call from Terry Bailey in Hong Kong and just asked if I'd be interested in going and competing in the Jockey Challenge at Happy Valley. And I think it was sort of obviously stemmed off going to Japan and doing well over there, and then since then sort of going and having a Group 1 winner in Melbourne as well, winning the Coolmore. They were keen to invite me, and we were very quick to say yes. I'm not sure really. I know they try and get as many people from sort of different countries as possible. That's why I think J-Mac was representing New Zealand but lives in Australia. I was representing Australia but from England. And then they had, I think like 3 different people from Great Britain as well, and people from everywhere. There was a German jockey, and there was obviously a few locals, and I think one from France. So they try and sort of spread it as much as possible, but I think they also want a certain sort of criteria. We'd at least been sort of riding Group 1 winners recently. We got a nice little man with his sign with our names on. It was pretty, you feel quite special when they do that actually at the airport, when they've got your name written on a sign. And we were driven to our hotel. We had a sort of fairly easy first day. We had a little bit of media stuff to do where they drew all the horses. So they have some kind of system where they, meant to be making it as sort of fair as possible. Each jockey gets like a certain sort of criteria of horse. So you're hopefully meant to get kind of, I think, one that's, probably a chance, and then they go sort of down from that. There's 4 races. So we did all that the morning we got there, and then had a little bit of an explore around sort of where we were staying in the afternoon. And went out for a really good steak actually that night. Not many jockeys can say. Probably the media stuff the day before, I guess that was, I think, the main thing they wanted everyone to do, which was where we sort of had these white jackets and with our name on everywhere and things like that, and we had to go and do heaps of photos, and then the press were allowed to come then and ask everybody sort of questions and things, and I got a few from back home, a few like Racing Post interviews and things like that, which was quite cool to do. So yeah, it was that was quite fun. Like I enjoyed that, but they're great. They got us in as quick as possible, did everything we had to. We got presented, actually, that was quite cool. We got presented with this like helmet, a brand new helmet, like a proper helmet, but an artist had like drawn all over this helmet, and like, so mine had my name on the front, and then Australia, and then like the Opera House and a kangaroo and stuff like that, like so from your country. So that was quite cool. Like they're just like non-stop gifts and things and stuff memorabilia to take home, that was pretty cool. But that was sort of the main thing we had to do before then sort of the races on the Wednesday. So there was obviously J-Mac and myself, sort of kind of from here, New Zealand and Australia. Holly Doyle, Tom Marquand and Ryan Moore came from England. Mikel Barcelona, he's French, I'm pretty sure. And then there was the local ones. Karis Teaton was one of them. Lyle Hewitt, I think, was another one. The German jockey, I cannot pronounce his name at all. He was lovely, really nice guy, but I've got no chance to pronounce first name and last name. No, I still couldn't get it. I tried many occasions, couldn't get it. Then obviously Zach Purton from there, and Yuga Kawada from Japan, who I'd met. He beat me in the Jockey Challenge in Japan, so I was determined to beat him this year, or this time rather, in Hong Kong, which I did. So I was happy about that. And yeah, I think the rest of them were sort of a couple of the locals. Yeah. Yeah, so for the 4 races, it was all done sort of through a computer to try and make sure everyone had equal chances. So they just dealt with that, and then if you you know, it's up to you to try and get any kind of outside rides. I didn't really understand a lot of it, and the only person I knew over there was Mark Newnham, so I rang him as soon as I knew I was going, and he had a couple for me originally, but unfortunately they both didn't end up going. But so I actually ended up with no other outside rides, just because I was very new at it. I think I'd messaged some trainers like the week before, and I was like, oh, you already have jockeys booked? Like, it was all done. So next year we'll try again another time. But everyone was lovely. Like, all the trainers were so nice, even when I was asking silly questions a week before the races, asking if they had any spare rides for me. They didn't laugh at me too much. So it was a good experience. Yeah, everyone was lovely. But yeah, it's different over there because you've got to do sort of all your own rides and things. I guess no managers at all. No, it's the jockeys have actually got to get on the phone and do a bit. I mean, it's a bit easy because they obviously do only race twice a week, so it's not quite as hectic as here, but it's still a fair bit of work. Yeah, Happy Valley, it was cool, so cool. Like, I've said to so many people since I've come back, it's one of those places I feel like if you're into racing at all, you've got to go there. Like, you just got to go and experience it. It's just a really cool place. Like, the atmosphere is incredible. And Luke and I actually even went the day before just to go and have a walk while there was no one there, so we could walk the whole way around and just sort of take my time kind of thing rather than rushing on the night. And even with no one there, it's just an impressive place. And then I think that made it sort of extra special, almost seeing it empty, and then suddenly the next night just full. And these, like, the grandstands are just vertical, like, so they feel like they're on top of you. Like, literally when you're on a horse, they're right there. Like, they're so close, which is, it's cool. And I mean, the horses they're just all used to it, so they're fine. I feel like our horses here might freak out a little bit, but it was a very unique place, like very tight. We think we've got tight turning tracks here. It was different. I was just on another scale, yeah, completely another scale. Yeah, it was a really good feeling. Like I said, it's probably sort of relief more than anything, just to get it done and get those points on the board. And then I knew, you know, whatever happened, I'd given myself every chance to try and do well in the overall series. The first one just, I guess, done. Like, it was sort of a bit of relief to get that first winner. And actually, David Hall, who I rode for, was one of the trainers that I had text about other rides. And obviously he is an old friend of Bjorn Baker's. So Bjorn had put his little 2 cents in when I'd asked David for some rides. He said, Bjorn said you can't be trusted. So, yeah, our close relationship showed there. But no, it was good to get that first one sort of out the way, I guess. And he was a perfect horse to have your first ride around Happy Valley on, because the first race in the series was 1,000 metres, so it's very fast and furious. And I'd sort of been warned about the corner at the 600, how tight that is, and, you know, sort of give myself room and just all the things to be aware of. So he was the perfect horse, because I literally just threw the reins at him and said, you do you, mate. And he went off and he just took me around, and he even positioned himself perfectly coming into the corners, like, just, you know, been around there a million times. I think he's actually raced in that series for the last 3 or 4 years or something, like, consistently. So he's the perfect horse to ride. And he gave me a really good experience first time around the track. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of luck.
I think you got sandwiched.
I got a little bit sandwiched. It was one of those sort of, Jamie had said, you know, try and hold a spot somewhere, kind of midfield-ish. I ended up sort of back on the fence, and he had actually said to me just before I went out, oh, look, if you do end up back there on the fence, just, you know, ride for luck, and because you're sort of not probably good enough to come around them. And I was getting a good amount of luck. It was sort of going well. I was managed to sneak up the fence quite well, and I thought I'd be, you know, confident going between J Mac and Zach Purton I had in front of me. And they sort of moved apart, and I went to go through the middle of them, and then next minute the door closed. It was so that one didn't go as well, unfortunately. But yeah, after that, luckily they had a bit more luck. Yes, that was, we drew a little bit tricky, I remember, and he sort of just said, just got a light weight. He said, punch forward and see where you can get to. We didn't have probably the best run in transit, but credit to the horse, he stuck on really well and was probably ran as well as he could, sort of ran to market expectations. So, and David was lovely to ride for. I was hoping I love greys, and I was hoping this grey would sort of pull through for me and win the last. But no, he ran super. He finished third. He was a lovely horse. I do have a very bad habit of falling in love with greys, and he was another one that was a very nice looking grey, and he was beautiful to ride as well. But again, he ran super. He ran sort of probably a little bit above expectations, so it was good to finish it off with a positive result. I didn't really. I sort of just left it. I think Luke was totting up as he was going along, keeping an eye on it more than me. But I remember from when I did the Jockey Challenge in Japan, I was leading coming into the last leg, and I didn't know I was, but everyone told me I was. So I was so determined to, all I had to do was run top 9, and I was so sure it was going to happen. And then unfortunately my poor horse went wrong, so this time I was like, I don't want to know where I am. I don't want to tempt fate in any way. So I wasn't sure exactly where I was sitting. I knew I'd had sort of okay enough results and got a few point scoring rides, so I thought I'd be somewhere there, but I didn't know if I was in contention or not. I had one of those big checks to hold. I wanted to take that home. It was cool. I don't think I'll ever get one of those again, like the big fake ones.
Yeah, I know.
It was in Hong Kong dollars, and I still don't know what Hong Kong dollars are. Still got no idea. The fireworks and everything. I kept because a lot of it was happening behind us. So I felt bad because I know obviously the cameras and things were in front of us, but I kept wanting to turn around and have a look what was going on because we didn't get to see it as much. But yeah, they certainly put on a show. They even had a red carpet out there for the jockeys to walk on. And it's just insane how when we did the presentation of jockeys sort of before the race, before the series started, they only have half an hour between races, and they set up this whole stage, everything in that half an hour. Everyone was out, introduced, all done, back in again, ready for the next race. It was just so efficient. One thing I noticed is there's so many staff everywhere. From just the racecourse staff to when we went and walked the track the day before, there was people there, filling in all the holes and doing everything. Just when we walk around the stables, there's so many riders, so many ground staff, so many barrier attendants, just staff everywhere. It's a huge industry. Yeah, I'd definitely love to go again. It's one of those things, for me, obviously I made a big, I know how much it can further your career, sort of travelling and riding in different places and things like that. And I feel like it's definitely somewhere where you can learn, and you've got very good jockeys that are there sort of all the time to learn from. So it's definitely somewhere I'd be sort of keen to try again. I'd love to have a ride around Sha-Tin. I didn't get to do that this time, and it looks like a lovely track to ride around. But I think I feel like it helps me in my career because you're just learning how to adapt very quickly. So it helps in everyday life when you're getting on horses you don't know and things like that. It's just helping you, be sharp, learning to adapt, learning to ride to the different horses and sort of getting to know them quickly and things like that. I think that's doing all these sort of jockey challenges and travelling and riding horses that you've never even watched before, let alone sort of seen or ridden. Definitely helps in the long run.